When I first started with Shireen, it was actually just one of those random things. I was going through a kind of a crappy place with my job. I was burnt out. Burnt out is the best way to phrase it. With that, I was also settling in a really just unfair relationship. I took a lot of emotional stress from that person and put it on myself. I had kind of like the Superman syndrome with everything. So I was trying to solve everybody else's problem, and I wasn't really taking the time to solve my own problems.
I hear you.
Um, at that point, though, I kept having friends say, "Hey, man, you should get a Twitter. You should get on Twitter. The things you say are awesome." And I'm like, "What is Twitter?" So I get on Twitter, and kind of when I would be on Twitter, it would be my time to myself, and I was free at that point to just let my thoughts just roll. And I would tweet and tweet and tweet, and myself and Shireen had mutual friends on Twitter, and she was like hashtagged in the Follow Friday or whatever. I I get on her profile, and it was like instantly the energy connection was just there, and I was like, this woman's got some balls. So I reached out to her. She reached back out to me. She was like, hey, email me. I emailed her. I told her my story, and she was like, dude, you're awesome. We should do some work. And I kid you not, since then, my life has changed tenfold.
People were mentioning.
Everything's different. My energy, my growth, my ability to be me, my ability to be free in myself, um, my trust in the fact that I am a life coach, my claiming that she had this thing called the Cubicle Monkey Revolution, and I was on board. I jumped in and I was like, I'm breaking free, everybody. But instead of breaking completely free from my job, I just stood up and said, I'm going to make this job what I want it to be. I had the guts to do that finally. Um, that relationship that I was in no longer is in it. I got the balls to do that on actually a retreat that we had from Awaken the Rebel. And just with the energy that I had from Shireen that night, we had a talk about relationships. And Shireen's the kind of person, well, she'll help you expand. She really helped me expand and my trust in myself. And with that, I just jumped out and I grew my wings on the way down. Put it for 30-something years, I was afraid to be true to myself because I felt I had to be true to everybody else.
Yeah.
And kind of, in a sense, that cubicle monkey revolution, I was trapped in a cubicle of everybody else's expectations. And I just finally, with Shireen's help, was able to focus on what was inside of me. Oh my God. When I heard intuitive, I was kind of like, is this some weird like psychic read me type deal? And the first time I did it with her, I was kind of in a dark place with that relationship and with myself. And I'm kind of a tough guy, I kind of grew up rough. I used to tell myself that story all the time. I'm tough, I'm tough. And that first intuitive reading, it was almost like the first time I was able to look myself in the face. And the emotion that came up that night, it was just like, it was deep. That depth that I felt with myself, I had never experienced before. For the first week after that, it was just like my connection with my emotions was different. I wasn't controlled by my emotions, but I was in tune with them. I surrendered to them and I accepted them, which was something that I had trouble doing for years. And then the second time that I interacted with Julie on the intuitive call was almost a year later. And at that point, I had just came out of the breakup and I hadn't accepted the heartbreak. And I still remember Julie said, you should allow yourself time to accept the heartbreak. And that cracked me open. I'm a big old thug guy. I just cracked open. It was just like, wow. So I promise anybody on this chat, on this webinar, if you've ever experienced the point where you felt stuck with something deep inside and it's kind of a scary place to be, that work with Julie will change you and it will benefit you. I can promise you that. Honestly, it is freedom. That's exactly what I felt. With working with Shireen, it was ballsy, it was guts, and then connecting with Shireen and Julie, it was true freedom. Now from this work with you two, I have my brand. It's bold without apology. I have my trust in myself. And, every day it's not like perfect, like, hey, I'm top of the world. Some days are kind of dark, but in that darkness, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm free to say, hey, I'm here. I'm in tune with this, and I know what's next, and that's growth. So I encourage everybody, please jump on. I will be there. These awesome ladies will be there, and you will grow.